Yo, it's your boy Bess, and welcome back to the Straight to the Point podcast, season 2, episode 5. On today's episode, I will be doing my best 5 plays from week 2, followed by my week 2 Dawgs. Okay, my best performances from week 2, and then I will be talking about throughout the show injuries and overhype for a couple of teams that we need to slow our roll on, and then I end the episode with my Thursday night football preview between the 49ers and the Giants. But as always, I want to thank God for waking me up this morning and allowing me to talk about sports, which is something that I love to do. And without him, I would not be here right now. So let's go ahead and get straight to the point and get started with my best 5 plays from week 2. As we all know, I got to add an honorable mention there every single time because it's just hard to pick 5 plays. And I feel like if I didn't put this play in my best 5 plays of the week, then I would have got some backlash for it. But I got to go with the Hail Mary from Russell Wilson. All right, this play made an honorable mention because it was so unexpected. You know what I'm saying? It was very exciting to watch it live. I actually saw the play live. It was exciting to watch it. But to me, it was not a top 5 play, right? I think they got a couple lucky bounces. They got the touchdown. They did not get a 2-point conversion, though. A missed PI. This conversation for another day. But it was a great throw. Like I said, they got lucky. Sometimes we need a little luck in our life. And then they got the touchdown. But it did not make the top 5, but these were my best 5 plays of the week. So let's go ahead and get it. Jerome Ford, okay, backup running back for the Cleveland Browns, who stepped in for the injured Nick Chubb. He came and look, as a Steelers fan, I'm sitting there watching this game, and when he made this run, all I could do was clap for him. Because that was a great play. There's nothing we can do about it, right? Defense, I think, didn't necessarily contain too well on the backside, but how often do you see somebody cut back all the way across the field and get about 50-plus yards on the run? All right, but I also want to give a shout out to Minkah Fitzpatrick on this play as well, because if you pay attention, Deshaun Watson went upfield and blocked Minkah, right? Minkah got blocked for a second. Then he ran down Jerome Ford, okay? He chased him down, stopped him like on the 1-yard line, probably an inch away from the end zone, right? But they scored the next play. But that was a great run, a great cutback. Like I said, as a Steelers fan, I'm sitting there saying, man, that's just a great run. I can't get mad at all. Great job, Jerome Ford. Number 4, I got to go with Scary Terry, all right? Terry McLaurin. Look, this is how you gain trust of your young QBs, all right? Sam Howell, a young QB for the Washington Commanders. This is how you gain his trust. You go up there and you grab his ball. It's technically triple coverage, but Sam threw it up. Terry went and made a play. I'm expecting that chemistry to get better as the season goes. And like I said, you gain trust from the quarterback by making plays like this. Terry McLaurin, very underrated receiver who does things like this on a weekly basis. We just don't pay attention. All right. Number 3, I got to go with Justin Herbert. Now, so not a lot of good things going on in Los Angeles right now for the Chargers. I think they're struggling. They're 0-2. Right, the coach should be out the door pretty soon, but Justin Herbert is still making plays. This is why plays like this is why they paid him top dollar. All right, he got hit in the head. It was a flag for a personal foul on defense. Got hit in the head, kept his balance, got back up, and then went and threw a touchdown. Okay, these are the plays that we need to see from Justin Herbert week in and week out. Okay, this is why they paid you. They paid you to make these plays, but they also paid you to go and win some games. All right, they're 0-2, but he did make the best 5 play, one of the best 5 plays of the week. Number 2, Bijan Robinson. Bijan Robinson was up here last week, and he's up here again. Okay, last week he broke 1 ankle in 1 play. This week he broke 3 ankles in 1 play. All right, just watch. Look at how they're falling to their knees. One time he broke the person. The second one he broke. And the third one he kind of broke. It wasn't really, he didn't fall or nothing like that. But I count that as a broke. Because guess what? He made that hard cut. Made him basically spin around to a block. That was a great run by Bijan. Hey, I don't like the draft pick. I don't like that they drafted him because I think he was a want versus a need. But he's going to make plays like this week in and week out. He is a dangerous player who might just be on the best 5 plays every single week if he continue to make cuts like this. All right, this is a human highlight reel in Bijan. Enjoy him and make sure y'all tune in to him every single week because he is special. And then number 1, I got to give you Chris Olave. Okay, this one-handed catch was perfect. All right, I didn't see it live, but when I saw the highlights, I saw this play. I said, that's definitely number 1 on the best 5 plays of the week. He makes plays like this week in and week out, okay? He's a very, to me, underrated receiver. I think he's starting to get his love, starting to get his flowers. 2nd year in the league, but he's been doing stuff like this since last year, okay? Olave is like that, and he is number 1 on the best 5 plays of week 2. All right, and then next, like I said, I added this segment last week. I just started doing this segment called my Week 2 Dogs. Okay, these are players that I think had a great performance, and I think, and once again, Dawgs, Dawgs, a dog. That means you are a beast. All right, and these are my Week 2 Dogs. Number one, Alex Highsmith. Okay, Alex Highsmith. Last week with T.J. Watt, and T.J. had a great game, but Alex Highsmith set the tone. Okay, he had 7 tackles, 1 sack, a forced fumble that won the game, and then he had a pick 6 that started off the game. So he started the game and he finished it. Okay, so that's a great performance by Alex Highsmith. I came up here and I said it when I was doing my pyramid. We have the best. The Steelers have the best edge rushing duo in the league, and I think the whole world got to see it nationally on Monday Night Football. All right, so great game from Alex Highsmith. Another week 2 dog. I go Bijan Robinson. Just talked about him. He had 19 carries, 124 yards, also at 4 catches and 48 yards. All right. I can speak. This is personal for me because he's on my fantasy team. A lot of my fantasy teams, right? So I need him to continue his production. But you can see whenever they drafted him so high, I knew they would utilize him so much. Okay, because you drafted him at what, 8, right? You picked him at 8 or 9, one or the other. You got to utilize him. Okay, and they did, and they do. Trust me, in the pass game and in the run game, he's taking all the touches of his offense. So, like I said last week with Logan, I said, look, if you got Kyle Pitts or Drake London, you're going to struggle this year because a lot of games, a lot of the touches are going to go to Bijan Robinson. He's proven to be a human highlight reel. Like I said, made the best 5 plays 2 weeks straight. So I don't blame them for getting him the ball, but he's just a dog, all right? So that's my another week 2 dog. My next one is Brian Robinson Jr., okay, running back with the Washington Commanders. Now, I was a little scared going into this year when Eric Bieniemy, okay, the offensive coordinator for the Commanders who came from the Chiefs, when he went over there, I'm thinking, okay, they're going to be a lot of pass first, you know. But with Sam Howell being young, developing, you need a heavy run game. And Brian Robinson Jr. Has proven to be reliable the first couple of weeks. This week he had 18 carries, 87 yards with 2 touchdowns. 2 catches and 42 yards. All right, so that's another week 2 dog. I think he will continue to get a lot of touches because Sam Howell is just now getting the groove of things. Like I said, finding trust with his receivers. So to help that process, want to have a strong run game. So Brian Robinson made the week 2 dogs list. I got 2 more for you. I got George Pickens. Okay, 4 catches, 127 yards, and a touchdown. I know some of y'all watching this show saying, "Man, there's a lot of Steelers bias going on," but it's not. I mean, 127 yards off 4 catches. That is maximizing your touches. That's all that is. Okay, he had 10 targets, but he only gave the ball 4 times. He's with a quarterback that's struggling right now. Kenny Pickett is struggling. He's with the offensive coordinator that is about to lose his job pretty soon because of the plays that he's calling. And he's still being able to bring this kind of production to a game, right? His 68, 71-yard touchdown, whichever it was, is what basically got this offense going a little bit. So to be in the situation he is and to still have 4 catches, 127 yards, and a touchdown, you got to be a dog to me. And then next, Michael Parsons. Okay, I know I talk about the Cowboys all the time, and I try to let y'all know that they're not what y'all think they are. But Michael Parsons is nice, okay? Michael Parsons had 2 sacks and a forced fumble against this Jets offense. He is special, no doubt. I'm not gonna take anything from him. But to end this segment, I do want to do a little comparison because I've been hearing a lot lately that Michael Parsons is the modern day Lawrence Taylor, right? I've heard on a lot of shows that I watch, okay, First Takes and the First Things First and the Undisputeds I keep hearing that he's an MVP candidate, right? But can we please stop talking about Michael Parsons as if he's the best defensive player in the league, because he's not. He's not even top 2 in my opinion. Okay, he's number 1 this year has been proven to be T.J. Watt. I mean, I can tell you the stats right now. Comparison pressures. Okay, pressure is whenever the defensive lineman gets close to the quarterback. Okay, not necessarily getting the sack, but he's putting pressure on the quarterback. T.J. Watt has 13. Michael Parsons has 12. Sacks. T.J. Watt has 4. Michael Parsons has 3. Forced fumbles. T.J. Watt has 2. Michael Parsons has 1. Fumble recoveries. T.J. has 2. Michael Parsons has 1. And then defensive touchdowns. T.J. Watt has 1. Michael Parsons has none. Okay, so the reason why I have a little bit of hate towards Michael Parsons is because to me, he's overhyped. He's overrated. And I know you're asking me right now, Jalen, how can you overrate a great player? because y'all think he is the best thing since sliced bread. Y'all comparing him to Lawrence Taylor. Last time I checked, when Lawrence Taylor was in the league, he was the best player on defense. Out of all the teams, he was the best defensive player in the league. Michael Parsons is not even top 2 in the league. Okay, definitely not number 1. Okay, because TJ definitely is. Okay, so I'm tired of the Michael Parsons hype. Yes, he's special. But if he's special, the TJ Watt is generational. All right, I understand he plays for the Cowboys, so he get a lot of clout. He gets a lot of TV time. But put some respect on TJ Watt's name and stop talking about Michael Parsons like he's the best thing out there, because he is not. All right, like I said, I understand he plays for America's team, but he's not the best defensive player in football. But he did make my week 2 Dawgs, all right? Next, speaking of the Cowboys, my next segment, I do want to talk about the Cowboys. Back to the point I just made a couple minutes ago. A lot of TV shows that I watch, okay, like I said, first take on this beauty, first things first. A lot of things. I'm hearing that the Cowboys are Super Bowl favorites. I'm hearing a lot of people say, man, the Cowboys about to go in the Super Bowl this day year. Defense is spectacular. Dak Prescott taking care of the football. I feel like I'm having deja vu because we say this every single year. All right. I understand that they're 2-0. I understand they've outscored their opponents, I think 70-10. Right? They scored 40 in the first game, 30 in the second game. The Giants didn't score against them, and the Jets scored 10 points. So I think 70-10, they're outscoring both of their opponents. Okay. Dak Prescott is playing pretty good right now. He hasn't turned over the ball yet, even though he almost threw a pick 6 that Sauce Gardner just dropped. I know y'all saw that, right? But he's playing pretty well. Okay, he's being a game manager, which I think he is. He's not a top flight quarterback, so you want to keep the ball out of his hands as much as possible, rely on the run game, et cetera, et cetera. So the Cowboys are a pretty good team. I'm not gonna sit here and say they're trash, right? I think through 2 weeks, as of right now, in this moment, they're one of the top teams in the NFL. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and lie, okay, because they're producing. But this is when you got to be real, okay? We got to look at who they play. Now, I understand you can only play what's on your schedule. I got that. You know what I'm saying? And it's very unfortunate that I got to do this. But you play Daniel Jones, then you play Zach Wilson, okay? So it's 2 things that come with that. For one, the defense is going to eat because Daniel Jones, to me, is not a good QB. He's pretty average, right? I don't know why they paid him all that money. And Zach Wilson might be the worst quarterback in the league, even behind C.J. Stroud, even behind Bryce Young, all right? So you're playing these 2 quarterbacks. The defense is going to get after them because both of their O-lines are pretty suspect, and they're just not good quarterbacks. So the defense is going to eat, okay? Last week, I picked the Jets to win that game because I thought Zach Wilson would just take care of the football. They would run the ball a lot, and they would be able to play good defense and win the game. None of that happened. Okay, they did not. Zach Wilson did not take care of the ball. He threw like 3 interceptions, I believe. They did not run the ball much because I know Breece Hall only had like 4 touches, and then the defense did not play well because the offense didn't play well. All right, and so for one, the defense hasn't played an elite quarterback. That's number one. Okay, number one, the defense has not played a quarterback that has my respect. Okay, Daniel Jones and Zach Wilson, yes, they're NFL quarterbacks, but do they produce at a high level? No. Haven't seen it from both of them. Definitely won't see it from Zach Wilson. Daniel Jones, maybe. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, right? Because you never know what can happen down the line. Then flip it over to the offense. When you play a bad QB and your defense can eat and feast on that, you're going to have the best starting field position in the NFL. And statistically, according to the stats, the Cowboys have the best starting field position. So what does that mean? That means that whenever Zach Wilson, Daniel Jones got the ball, they couldn't move it. Okay, they was 3-and-out, or they maybe got 1 first down. They couldn't get a lot of yards, which means they're punting right at a bad spot, which means the punter got to have a leg. I need you to punt it to the other 20 or to the other 10. But you can't, because if you're starting so far, if you're punting from so far back, you can only punt so far. So that means that the Cowboys are getting the ball on their side of the 50 the opponent's side of the 50 every single time, which is great field position, which means Dak and them are in position to be successful every time they get the ball. That's what this is. I looked this up. They have the best starting field position in the NFL. So the offense is able to eat because the defense is eating, and they're both eating because they have played 2 average to below average quarterbacks. I don't know why people don't see this. Okay, it has a lot to do. Now, the defense is spectacular. Do not get it twisted. The defense is all that in a bag of chips. Might be one of the best in the league. But based on who they played, I can't say they're going to keep this success going throughout the whole entire year. And at some point, Dak Prescott's going to have to make a play or two. He's going to have to. This past week when they played the Jets, once again, I was high on the Jets defense. I still am. But I think this game was just unfair. Because once again, whenever Dak and the Cowboys starting in good field position every single time, what do you expect the Jets defense to do? Right? And the Jets defense are on the field so much because Zach Wilson keeps giving the Cowboys the ball, whether it's a turnover, 3 and out, whatever it is. So the defense for the Jets couldn't do anything, but they actually did okay because I think out of the 7 or 6 times that Dak and the Cowboys got into the red zone, they only scored 2 touchdowns. The rest was field goals. You see what I'm saying? So the efficiency for the offense was only pretty good because the Jets often couldn't get anything going. Meaning that maybe against a good team that can put up points, them field goals might not be enough. I think 5 or 4 times they had to kick field goals when they had the ball in the red zone. Against other teams, that might not cut it. But against the Jets, hey, I can kick a field goal, I'm not getting the ball right back. Okay, so I think we need to slow our roll on this Cowboys hype. After 2 games, we're already crowning the Cowboys to be the best team in the league. And I understand that is a moment thing. That is right now, this second, who's the best team? A lot of people believe it's the Cowboys. I cannot give you that benefit of the doubt because once again, you played 2 bad quarterbacks. And when you play a bad quarterback, it helps. It helps your defense and your offense. It helps your defense because the defense got an easy job. Because this quarterback can't make plays. All I got to do is put pressure on him. He's going to give me the ball. Offense, it helps you because this quarterback can't get in a good field position. This quarterback can't move the ball. So now I'm getting the ball inside the 50. And I'm getting good field position. Right? So I think we need to take all that into account before we talk about these Cowboys. All right? I think, and for the next couple of weeks, and they play the Cardinals and the Patriots, that's not any good matchups either. So they might just be 4-0. But then after that, I think they play the 49ers on Sunday Night Football. So that's the game where I'm really going to see if the Cowboys are ready to take that next step. And like I said, after 2 weeks, I think it's just too much hype for me. So are the Cowboys Super Bowl favorites already? Heck no. Not even close. I don't even have a Super Bowl favorite at this moment. Okay, my pick, the Eagles, they are right now 2-0, but they're looking a little rusty still, right? I think the second half of that Vikings game, they finally woke up. So I want to see a full game of them playing great. The 49ers have looked good throughout the first 2 weeks, all right? But I'm not going to crown them as Super Bowl favorites right now. I don't think nobody should be crowned Super Bowl favorites because it's week 2. I've seen the Bengals last year start off 0-2, or maybe 0-3. I think it was 0-2, and they went to the AFC Championship. So that's why I say do not overreact to teams that start off hot or the teams that start off cold. Because the Bengals, I'm not going to sit up here and say that the Bengals are done. I'm not going to do that because if Joe Burrow can come back and they're because I don't know how long he's out, they can get a good record while he's hurt and he comes back, then they can get rolling. They can get into the playoffs and make some noise. That's why I don't rule out teams after 2 weeks. There's really only 3 teams right now that you can rule out of being a great team this year. And I'm about to talk about it right now. The Jets and the Browns. Okay? The Jets, the Browns, and the Cardinals. The Cardinals really, they're out of it because they just don't have a good team. And they're probably just trying to get Caleb Williams if he does come out in the draft because they need a quarterback. But the Browns and the Jets are done. Okay, let me explain why. Turn the injuries off. Please. God, I'm asking you for one season to turn the injuries off. And when I say that, for those of y'all that play Madden, okay, I love playing Madden. It's my favorite game to play. You can play with the injuries off, which means there will be no injuries while you're playing the game. You can also play with them on. Okay? I want God for one season. I'm not blaming him for these injuries at all. I'm not saying it's God's fault. But I just want him to turn the injuries off for one season so that we can really see who the best team is. Because injuries make a huge impact. The New York Jets went from being the Super Bowl favorite to not even making the playoffs because of Aaron Rodgers' injury. And Aaron Rodgers, I know he's talking about coming back for the playoffs. It might not be a playoffs, buddy, because you don't have a quarterback right now. And what he did on Sunday is going to lose y'all a lot of games. Because once again, I'm thinking that they can just run the ball, take care of the ball, let the defense eat, and you'll be okay. But if Zach Wilson's throwing 3 interceptions, then you're just not going to make it, okay? And the Browns are done, okay? And I saw the Nick Chubb because I'm a Steelers fan, right? So I'm watching the game. The Nick Chubb injury was ugly. It was very unfortunate. Praying for a speedy recovery. He is one of the top 3 running backs in the league, right? I think Derrick Henry and Christian McCaffrey, that's interchangeable. And then Nick Chubb is next, right? Because he's been consistent over the last couple of years, really since he's been drafted. He's been the focal point. He's been the centerpiece of that offense. That offense runs through Nick Chubb. Okay, it runs through Nick Chubb. They got a good run game, which opens the play action, and the quarterback can be successful. We saw with Baker Mayfield, right? The very little time they were successful, Baker was playing off of the run game, which means I have a really good run game. Teams start stacking the box. Teams start pushing up, and then guess what? Play action, throw it right over your head. I can be successful. When they added Deshaun Watson, okay, we're thinking that they have a top 5 QB with a top 5 running back with a great old line. They can run the ball, and Deshaun can make plays. Oh, this gonna be a Super Bowl team. That's when he first got here last year. Okay, last year he played a little bit. He didn't play a full season because he was still suspended. Played a little bit, wasn't the same. These first 2 weeks of the year, he's still not the same. Okay, Deshaun Watson. I think Houston Deshaun Watson is gone. Houston Deshaun Watson was a top 5 quarterback, maybe top 3. Like Houston Deshaun had no weapons and was doing what he did. Took that team to divisional round 1 year against the Chiefs. Okay, I think they blew a 24-point lead, something like that, but he got there with the Texans. Like I said, throughout that whole stint, I can only name 3 players: DeAndre Hopkins, Deshaun Watson, and J.J. Watt. With those 3 players, they made magic, and it's because of Deshaun Watson's play. Because J.J. Watt was great for a long time. DeAndre Hopkins was great for a long time. It wasn't until Deshaun Watson got there is when they started being successful. So when the Browns gave him that $230 million contract, they expected Deshaun to be the Deshaun of old, right? When I pay somebody, I don't pay you because of what you did. I pay you because of what I think you can do. $230 million guaranteed. They're expecting him to bring a Super Bowl to this franchise. And you thought with him and Nick Chubb that they was going to be perfect because a dominant run game with the top 5 QB, who's going to stop it? But Deshaun has not showed that he can be that he's top 5 QB anymore. He hasn't even showed he's a top 10 quarterback anymore. Like watching that game Monday night against the Steelers, yes, the Steelers defense is great. I told y'all the top 5, people laughed at me, but it's the truth. Okay, they have 2 great edge rushers, a great safety over the top, and when you have a great pass rush, that helps everyone else. Like we don't have any stars in the middle linebacker position. We don't have stars at the cornerback position. Okay, Joey Porter Jr. We'll see what he can do. But we have Minka Fitzpatrick in the back, and then you have T.J. Watt, Alex Highsmith, Cameron Hayward when healthy, right? So we're going to create havoc. Great quarterbacks can overcome it. I've seen it before. With this defense, I've seen Patrick Mahomes eat. With this defense, I've seen Josh Allen eat. A couple years ago, with this defense, I saw Aaron Rodgers eat. I've seen, I think 2 years ago as well, I've seen Justin Herbert eat. I've seen QBs against this defense go out there and put on a show because great QB play can outperform great defensive play. It's just the truth, right? So Deshaun Watson on Monday, if it was Houston Deshaun, and now Deshaun is 0-3 still in his whole entire career. I understand that. But Houston Deshaun would have overcame what happened that night. He was missing a couple throws. He fumbled the ball. Now, that fumble wasn't necessarily on him because Alex Highsmith just made a great play getting to the ball, right? But the first pass of the game, it wasn't his fault because the receiver dropped it, but it could have been a better pass. Houston Deshaun wouldn't have threw it like that, right? And throughout the game, he chunked the pass into the end zone, and our corner dropped the ball because he threw it straight to him. So Houston Deshaun is gone. So because of that, the Brown season is over. Because Nick Chubb was what drove this offense. Nick Chubb was the dominant force. When you thought about the Browns, whenever teams are about to play the Browns and they look at that game plan sheet, the number 1 player on your game plan sheet, I'm talking about defenses. When defenses about to go against the Browns, they see the game plan sheet. It says stop the run, stop Nick Chubb. Okay, because Nick Chubb is just like that, right? He can take over a game in a heartbeat. He started to take over the game Monday night until he got hurt. So without Nick Chubb, this team is done because the top five Houston Texans, Deshaun Watson, is not coming back. And now that he doesn't have a heavy run game to rely on, he's definitely about to get exposed. Because now, guess what? We can just play honest football. We don't have to stack the box anymore because Nick Chubb is gone. Yes, Jerome Ford came in there, had that big run. He was one of the best 5 plays of the week. Came in, had over 100 yards rushing, but a lot of it came off that one run. And that one run was just a good play. I don't expect him to have 100 yards every single week. When they signed Kareem Hunt, I don't expect Kareem Hunt to come in here. You can't duplicate what Nick Chubb did. Okay, Nick Chubb is not walking through that door. So the Browns season is over. It just is. They're going to miss the playoffs because they don't have Nick Chubb. And when people were talking about the whole running back value, that little part-time that we had during offseason, we was talking about running backs getting paid. There's certain running backs in this league that deserve every dollar, and Nick Chubb is one of them. So Nick Chubb, Derrick Henry, and Christian McCaffrey. Those 3 running backs, the offense go through them. When Nick Chubb, King Henry, and Christian McCaffrey get hurt, that offense changes. When other running backs get hurt, not so much, because you can kind of replace that. But with them 3 running backs, you cannot replace their productivity. You just can't. So with that being said, the Browns are cooked. It's over with. Now if Deshaun was top 5 Deshaun, and Deshaun was still Houston Deshaun, and guess what? This team will still be just fine. But he's not. And Nick Chubb not coming through that door anytime soon. So the Browns season is done due to an injury. Just like the Jets season is done due to an injury. These are 2 teams that the Browns is in my question mark section on the pyramid because I said if Deshaun plays like Houston Deshaun, then this team can be a Super Bowl contender. They just can't because the offense will be that dominant. But he's not. And now Nick Chubb's hurt, which was the best player in the offense. This team's going to struggle. Just like the Jets are going to struggle without Aaron Rodgers. So turn the injuries off, please. Because that's 2 teams that season is done. Their season is over. Like Super Bowl aspirations, playoff aspirations out the window because of injuries, which is very unfortunate. And the last thing I'm going to talk about today is my Thursday night football preview between the 49ers and the Giants. I don't think it's much to talk about. I think the 49ers have shown you through 2 weeks that they are one of the best teams roster-wise in the league. Okay, but one of the best teams when it comes to the roster. The offense, man, George Kittle is a top 5 tight end in the league, right? George Kittle is like the 4th option on the offense. He doesn't get – Christian McCaffrey gets the ball first, then Deebo Samuel, then Brandon Ayuk, and then George Kittle. That shows you how deep this offense is. And Brock Purdy still has not lost the game as a starting quarterback in the NFL, right? When he came in for Jimmy G last year, he was undefeated. And then this year, he's undefeated so far. So, and I got to give, like I said, kudos to Kyle Shanahan, man, because Brock Purdy, to me, is not an elite quarterback talent-wise. But production is elite because of the play calls from Kyle Shanahan. Now, you're going against a Giants team that got stomped the first game of the year, and I tried to give them the benefit of the doubt. Okay, it's first game, bad weather, you just had a bad night. But then last week, they was losing to the Cardinals for the majority of the game. Made a huge comeback, but people are more focused on the comeback than the team that they did it against, right? Like, I'm not going to sit here and say, okay, the Giants, man, that comeback, they're going to take that energy and they're going to go to the next game. No, you had to do that comeback. You had to make that spectacular comeback against the Arizona Cardinals, the team that I told y'all is going to have the number 1 pick in the draft next year, the team that has no quarterback, the team that has no stars on that team, right? You struggle. And what's going to happen Thursday night when you play one of the best teams in football, right? It's going to be a tough game. So, I mean, I think anyone with 2 eyes is going to go ahead and pick the 49ers to win this game. So I don't think it's much to really talk about right there. I expect maybe a blowout or a nice respected, nice little gap win. I'm talking about like 14 points, 17 points, something like that. So that's your Thursday night football preview. And that is it for today's show, y'all. I'm about to go ahead and get up out of here. Y'all make sure, man, that y'all enjoy football, please, because trust me, off season was tough. It was very tough going through the off season. trying to get to this season, but now this season is here. So y'all make sure that y'all enjoy. Okay, watch these games, enjoy football. I will see y'all on Friday with my main man, Logan McDougal. We're going to make our week 3 picks, of course, and talk about some hot topics in the NFL. But y'all stay blessed. All right, enjoy the game Thursday night. Much love. I'll see y'all soon. I'm out.